By his epilepsy, his medication, and arguments with his young wife Debbie over an affair he was now having with a Belgian fan, Annick Honor. After a failed suicide attempt, Curtis finally took his own life on 18th of May 1980, the night before Joy Division was set to leave for the States. Iggy Pop's The Idiot was on his record turntable.
Who knows what really went on that night? Who knows what really happened? He was on his own that night. He'd seen Debbie, and they'd had an argument, and then he spent most of the night on his own, and who knows what went through his head.
Whatever happened between Debbie and Ian on that last night was, I'd say, was quite obviously what finished him off. You know, he felt he couldn't cope with it anymore, and that was it. You know, none of us were there. He didn't phone anybody up.
We had been warned twice. We'd been warned by the fact he took an overdose of fucking tablets, and our response was, like the line from Closer, it's a cry for help, a plea for anaesthesia. Wrong. Secondly, I'd been warned on a train to London 2 weeks earlier by Annick. I said, what do you think of the new album? She goes, I'm terrified. I said, what are you terrified of? Don't you understand? He means it. And I go, no, he doesn't mean it. It's art. And guess what? He fucking meant it.
Cry like a child, though these years make me older. With children, my time is so wastefully spent.
I think we're a bunch of silly cunts, the fact that we didn't see it coming. And we didn't. We really didn't.
We never really listened to Ian's words, you know. We did after he died, obviously. But we never really listened to his words, because that was kind of, that's his private business, you know. They seemed very personal, and just let him get on with that, you know, we'll get on with the music.
The sleeve for Closer was already in production. Working with Peter Saville, the band had chosen an image by French photographer Bernard Pierre Wolff for the cover.
I hadn't heard anything. I didn't know what they were doing. I didn't know what they were writing. But I mean, the rest of the band didn't know what Ian was singing. And they chose an image together. And then, you know, some time later, Ian's died, and the record is in production, and the cover is at the printers. And I had to draw it to Tony's attention. We have a tomb on the cover.
Factory and the band stood by the original design.
When Ian Curtis dies, and I said it immediately, you know, and Wilson certainly did, you know, he's like a Hendrix, he's like a Jim Morrison, a Janis Joplin. Everyone goes, don't be daft, you know, it's like just a kid, you know. But you kind of go, no, you know, this will develop, this will grow.
It's not the usual kind of, you know, rock and roll suicide or death due to alcohol or to drugs. He meant what he said when he wrote the songs. I think that people recognise that. You can sort of see the Joy Division story and the Factory story that goes on from that as the last true story in pop.
Me, creatively, I was dead after that.
It made you feel like none of it was worth it, really. You felt like you'd achieved nothing because you lost Ian.
And we were like, well, what do we do? We don't, you know, no plans, and we didn't have a plan B.
the group called Joy Division would never perform again. Its surviving members buried the name, along with Ian Curtis. Joy Division alone had given Factory financial success, stability, and visibility. The label now found itself in need of another successful band.
Everybody was waiting for the next Joy Division, the next band that was going to start generating.
Well, Tony thought it was going to be Ray's show, but it wasn't, was it?
No.
January 1981. Wilson took a certain ratio to New York to record their first album and play some gigs. With them were New Order, a rechristened three-piece Joy Division, scheduled to play a few dates to try out new material. Unfortunately, all their equipment was stolen from an unlocked van. Wilson delivered the news with characteristic optimism.
Strange twist to the story, darling. Strange twist to the story. You'll never guess what's happened now. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Like what? He said, you've had all your equipment stolen. The last vestiges of everything that was connected with Joy Division had gone. And we're like, what? Oh, shit. What about the gigs, you know? And then Rob phones up the insurance.
Don't worry, I'll sort it out. Oh, yeah, I used to work in insurance. And he gets on the phone.
We've had all our equipment stolen. Where are you? New York. Did you have the van alarm? No. And we were like...
We weren't insured.
Fuck.
New Order were growing up in public, a situation made worse by the decline of Martin Hannett, who produced their first album, Movement, with a heavy heart and a drug addiction.
I think of all of us, the one person who was affected worst by Ian's death was Martin. But he never really talked to us about it.
Martin was pretty messed up by now, you know, so that was a further difficulty, because he was just turning up. He wasn't turning up messed up, but by the end of the session he was pretty messed up.
When he went through his drug addiction, he was even worse, more difficult to deal with. So Bernard and I made a decision that we were just going to learn what he did and get rid of him, which we did.
There were to be more New York trips for New Order. With fourth band member Gillian Gilbert, they began fusing the electronic sounds and beats of a dance music now being heard in the city's hippest clubs with elements of British rock and pop. The new Joy Division were fast becoming Factory's new saviours when they noticed something.
We're playing these clubs, Hurrahs and Danceteria in particular. And these clubs are wonderful.
There's a lot of new things happening, like hip-hop was just starting. It was very underground at the time.
Everything was just radically different. It was completely mind-blowing. Rob and I said at that time, and